Today, I'm joined by Caroline Gaya, an equestrian coach, yoga teacher, and horsewoman who brings a truly holistic approach to riding and training. Caroline's work bridges the gap that I think a lot of equestrians are struggling at the moment in verbalizing with the body, the breath, the awareness of the yoga, with the sensitivity and partnership of horsemanship. She helps riders not just to ride better, but to move and feel and lead with more balance and authenticity. In this episode, we're going to explore this fascinating journey, background, how yoga has shaped her as a coach and a rider, and these recurring challenges that we all have experienced or felt owning horses or working with horses. I'm really interested to know what she's learned coaching and how she puts this all together. Caroline, thank you so much for your time and for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me. That's my pleasure.
So let's get into this. Your journey is so interesting. Can you share your background, the yoga, how this led into equestrian coaching?
I always wanted to ride, so I started with riding, obviously, and I've been a professional rider, dressage rider, for nearly 20 years, 17 exactly, and I went into yoga, let's say by accident. It was not meant to be. It was just that I went into a consultation for Chinese medicine. Okay. And the woman told me, "Oh, your head is spinning. You need to do yoga." Your employer might be happy with you because you're managing many things at the same time, but it's not good for your health. So I said, okay, why not? And I went there, and I was uncomfortable with the atmosphere. At the time, it was 2009. You could find yoga studio, but it was not popular. It was not like a fashion thing as it is today. So so it was an old thing with a bit darker room to invite into inward focus, but and people were close to me. It was a bit kind of uncomfortable for me as a hypersensitive person. But then I discovered, after the first class, I discovered that it was exactly the feeling that I want for my horse after a session. I felt my spine was connected from hip to shoulders. I felt unified in my body. I felt my locomotion was kind of freer. And this sense of unity that I find after a good ride, I thought, whoa, oh, I'm actually offering myself a good ride. And that's what clinged to me. And yeah, and from there I thought, well, I'm gonna, even if the atmosphere is a bit strange to me, I'm gonna keep coming. That's how it started. It's only a few years later that I understood the depth, the energetic change, the impact in your nervous system. And this impact in the nervous system and this kind of reconnecting to my primitive me, the primitive me was really connecting to the animal, the horse instinct. And I felt I was feeling what he was feeling, because it was kind of a body to body conversation, or nervous system to nervous system conversation, because I was aware of mine. And this has been really transformative, beyond stretching, beyond core strength, beyond all the rest that are just byproducts of yoga.
so much we can unpack just in what you said right there. My brain's going, oh, yes, of course.
Okay.
So take us back, because there's a lot of people that be listening to this now going, competition riders, dressage riders, so but then they also have a job. So to take us back to that place where that, ch the Chinese medicine said to you, you need to go and do some yoga, you're too busy. So were you working and then competing at the weekends in dressage?
Exactly.
Was that the
Exactly.
line?
Exactly. I was working, competing at the weekend. Um, um, it was just after the years I worked in a big stable in Germany, and I was kind of, I needed a break somehow, but I didn't want a full break. So I was working in the office and I was riding some good competition horses in the evening. So to say, I was trying to skip the, if you have 6 or 8 horses a day to fix as a professional, you only, if you're lucky, you have more, but normally you have 2, 3 good horses, and the others are just to be fixed. And these are the ones that are more difficult, more stressful, draining your energy, loading with your body with tensions. And I was okay. Oh, maybe I just need to reframe my work and stay in the office and then only have these 3 good horses to ride and to compete with and see how it goes. I tried for 5 years, but then I changed the schedule again. But it
Yeah,
was interesting.
you've obviously been doing you can tell you're down this journey down the road for a while now because you're almost not out the other end, but your awareness is so it's obvious to someone who's a deep thinker and who does a lot of work on herself. And again, I'm thinking for people who are in the days of where you were like, I have this difficult horse, and we all know that the horses are just communicating. But when we're in it in the moment, as much as we know that the horse maybe isn't the problem, we are so focused on the problems. We are so focused on how can I fix this horse. Did you did you find that it was yoga that helped you almost take a step back? Or how looking back at it now, how can you differentiate the Caroline back then to her now, where you can go,
Mm.
ah,
No, I was like any other professional, not really aware of her body. Um, for most of them, I would say, and riding as much horses as possible, having clients and loading with myself with as much as I can. First, to keep my mind busy because emptiness is scary, and also because I thought riding was about being busy all the time and pushing through. So until my body said, well, why don't you do something else? I was pushing through. So I went into my limit until I say, okay, no, I need to reframe that because, I was how old I was at the time, maybe 33, 33. And I think when you reach the third, in your 30s, the what could work in your 20s doesn't work. And you also think about the future. You might think about the family aspect of it. Do you want a child? Do you don't want a child? Do you have the good partner with you? Um, you think about longevity as well. So it's all coming into your mind. You want to build something. I'll keep traveling because I was keeping traveling to just be with the best ones. But the downside of it is that I was not building anything for myself and was going apart from my family, from my friends, and I was somehow opening myself to many different writing techniques and improving my writing and my knowledge, opening up to more knowledge, and somewhat I was closing down to, oh, yeah, shrinking my um my opportunity, my personal opportunities, let's say. So that's what really turned into finding another balance, or trying to find another balance in life, and yoga came to me at this time to save me somehow.
Wow. Really resonate with the age of like the 30s. I remember being in my 20s and my mum or people close to me saying, wait till you get to your 30s. And then, people in the 40s will say, wait till you get to your 40s. And I, personally, there's no wrong or right era. It's true, though, what you say, the 30s, personally, for me, there's a shift. There is the shift as you described it so beautifully. And you either kind of keep burying your head in the sand, thinking it's going to go away, and I will do what I've done in my 20s because it used to work, or like many of us, and I'm in that boat, it comes crashing down, and then you have to change and have to try something else. So I loved how you framed that. In your opinion, your expertise, what is yoga?
No, that's a vast question. Yoga, uh, it's finding more of who you are.
Mm.
The first teacher training that I did was in Madrid, and it was really at the beginning that, and now there's a teacher training everywhere, but this one was quite like, oh, there's a teacher training. And I didn't want to go into teacher training anyway, but the teacher said, well, you just do it. And it was an opportunity for me to just deepen into my practice. As when I do something, I want to, dive into it. So, but in this group of people, there was three of them doing climbing, you know, and they said, oh, yoga is exactly as climbing. And I thought to me, no, 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 no. Yoga is exactly the same as riding. And the thing is that yoga is you. So it serves you whatever you want to do. Either it's climbing or riding or whatever, or golf or tennis, whatever. Because it brings back more of who you are, brings back more body awareness. And even if it's painting and the body's not involved in it, you have this sensitivity um, um, coming into your awareness to find out more possibilities for yourself, and also to be more into listening. And listening is where everything starts. When you ride and you go, for example, in the warming up, and you walk, but just because in the time that you walk, you put your phone away, you take the reins, and somehow mechanically, because you ride a lot, then you connect, but you don't really connect intentionally. You just do it by evidence because you did it a lot of times. But if you don't put this intention of being with the horse and receiving the movement of the back and receiving all the subtleties, maybe the asymmetries, maybe a swinging of the back that is not just the same as it was the day before, or something in the contact, then this diagnostic saying, so to say, helps you have the correct the correct action without repeating exercises, without overdoing and over controlling, and not letting your horse express his own locomotion and state of mind of the day. And actually, it speeds up the training because of this understanding and this presence to him and to yourself. And now I forgot completely the question.
It's beautiful. I was actually going to ask you, but you were answering the question I was thinking, which was how have you felt from a practical perspective? Because many of the listeners here are all practical riders. We almost wear a badge of honor, horsewomen. It's like we're practical people. And most riders I speak to, they know the horse's weaknesses. Even though they might say, I'm learning how to feel better and I'm learning how to improve it, most riders know, okay, when I get on, as you've rightly said, sometimes it's putting the phone away first. That, okay, today, or the horse of yesterday, he was stiff on the right rein. I can't move the rib cage over. So this is what we're working on today. So I feel like riders have that sense of awareness of the horse's weakness. So, from what you're saying, am I correct in verbalizing this in a different way where you're saying you as the rider know the horse's asymmetries, but yoga can help you bridge that gap between unsolving or supporting the horse's body quicker by
Absolutely.
being more aware? Was that an interpretation?
Absolutely. And also, it helps you going back to neutral. We know when you as a professional rider, when you ride 6-8 horses a day, you absorb some tensions because your job is to fix. So you need to fix something. So tension, over reactivity, asymmetries, misunderstanding on some exercises, on all these going through your body, and you kind of absorb that like a massage therapist is absorbing some tensions of the of the client. So yoga helps going back to neutral. And but it took me quite some months until I realized that yoga was helping me that much. When I just noticed at some point that the days I was going into yoga and then riding, I had a beautiful session on horseback. And the day I wasn't practicing, I was going into riding and I thought, oh, the horse is stiffer today. Oh, I needed to read. Oh, he was not answering to my legs today. Oh, he was, more tense. But I put the blame on him. Oh, he was tense. He was not listening. He was more difficult. And then I said, wait, hang on a second. How come that when I practice, when I go back to neutral, when I realign myself, not only physically but energetically, then I can access to a subtlety of writing that I was aiming for before, but I was not accessing because I was always trying to fix him without addressing myself first.
Hmm. What are the most overlooked connections you think or you believe between yoga and riding that you wish every equestrian understood?
The the energetic connection.
I'm
That
so glad you said that. Yeah.
it's it's we it's difficult to understand. We always think about fitness training, about being stronger, about being more athletic, let's say. But when you go into energy, you realize how powerful it is. And they are as herbivore animals as they are even more sensitive than carnivore. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but this is my feeling. They are in fight or flight mode every time just to be sure that nothing is scary around them because they need to run quick, as I heard before. They are kind of hypersensitive to energies around them. So I think what is this is the biggest change when you practice
Mm,
yoga. You
mm.
are as you are aware of what they feel much much quicker, let's say, and you pick it up much quicker. And you also pick up, you senses anything in the stable that could be bothering the horse. So it gives you not only cues on horseback, but in the environment in general, and even with people. The, the, the only downside is that when you go into yoga and you awaken this body sensitivity and you become more sensitive and more sensitive and more sensitive, then if you don't keep in mind of staying neutral, not reacting, again, then you become a very annoying yogi who cannot eat anything, who cannot go anywhere when it's not that too spicy or too blah blah blah, or you cannot drink with people, you cannot have a social life because everything is bothering around you because you developed a kind of sensitivity. So it's really like a bird, the two wings of the bird. It needs to be equal sensitivity and neutrality. And then you bring something readable for your horse and for yourself.
I've never heard it explained like that, but it's so true. We've all heard the oh, you're not one of those, and yeah, that definitely makes
Yeah.
yeah. Um, can you share an example of a transformation that you've seen with a rider where they actually begin to start to integrate yoga or this, body awareness into their training?
Sorry. Few years ago, I had the chance to have two students that I was teaching just dressage, and the two of them, of all the students that have, the two of them said okay for an experiment. I said, okay, look, I'm riding your horse for 2 months. You don't touch him, or you can go to the stable and touch him, but don't ride him, don't, not even for hacking, anything. The horse is for me to ride. And in the meantime, you come to my yoga classes twice a week, 2 months. And they were, open to this experiment enough to have this consistency during 2 months. And after 2 months, I put them together. And I had with both aha moment, saying, now I feel my body, and now I feel what I need to feel for the horse. Because they were running about not knowing what they should feel. And it was an endless story. First, because they couldn't feel, they were not aware enough to feel. And second, because they didn't even know what to feel. So that's been, I don't say they were riding Grand Prix after the 2 months, but I said they knew what was the path about, what was the feeling they were after, and what they could, and how they could create them, these feelings, how they could create these feelings and this, let's say, freedom of locomotion for their horses.
Mm. Did they continue the yoga?
One of them, yes,
Good.
and really like 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about 10 years ago, something like that. And
Yeah.
the other one dropped because, well, she had a child as well.
Mm.
Life.
Mm. And as your like as a coach, what are the common both like physical or emotional patterns that you see the riders of today struggling with?
Um, the most common is stiffness and tension because of this wanting to fix your horses.
Mm.
And so you first think, well, never mind. I need either you think you need more strength and you go into fitness, but then riding is a static. The muscles are contracting, but not really. Sometimes lengthening, but not really shortening. So when you go into shortening the muscles, then this kind of the nervous system in between the fear that you can have through riding because it's a risky sport and the contraction that you train in the fitness studio, you don't really you miss out of something.
Mm.
There's something is missing, and it helps, but not 100%. And the other option is saying, well, it doesn't mind. As soon as I ride, it goes away, meaning lower back. Oh, I have lower back when I'm in my couch in the evening, but as soon as I ride, it goes away. There's two reasons for that. The first thing is that the movement of the sacroiliac joints, and especially on walk, is really relaxing your pelvis and softening the tensions in your lower back. But also it's a nervous system thing that you relax when you move your pelvis. The central nervous system goes into relaxation. You can also take newborn baby who's crying. You just balance the pelvis a little bit sideways and he stopped crying. So the horses give us that as well for our nervous system. So we think we go better by riding, and then it becomes like a necessary habit to
Mm.
ride. But you're not going back to neutral for yourself, for your own locomotion.
Mm.
And you're like kind of using horses,
Mm.
sort of. So it becomes an imbalanced relationship,
Mm.
which can go deep, super deep,
Mm.
into even addiction. So I wouldn't say it's safe.
How do you approach? So if I was a rider who came to you with, I suffer with tension, and my horse is tight as well. How would you work with someone like me? Do you have a process, a technique that you can talk us through?
You have tensions and you come to me. It depends on it depends on um, the origin of the tension. Is it emotional? Is it mental? Is it physical? And from there,
Mm.
we see if I start with breathing exercises, I start with yoga, I start with, just talking and having an awareness of what could be stressful in your life. Or is it just, yeah, many times, funny enough, um, people come with writing difficulties, but it's fear of being seen. So riding is good at home, and then in competition, you end up with a lot of difficulties because of the pressure of being judged, seen, filmed. It's a lot nowadays. That's a lot. And also judged for your riding techniques. You don't know where to step. And you know your relationship with your horse, but you don't know what people will think about you. And it's nowadays it's even more a subject to worry than 20 years ago. I don't know if you feel that the same or not.
I couldn't agree more. And I was also going to ask, because we briefly spoke about this when we first started talking about, women, equestrian women in the industries nowadays. I have, if I look back my whole years of working with horses, it's an evolution of who I am as a person. They've come into my life at certain points, and I've had to overcome a certain obstacle in my life that I thought was the horse, but it was me. And I can only look back on hindsight now and go, oh, that's why I had that horse, because at the time I was insecure and I was battling with this, and the horse showed me what I needed to hear at the time. I worked through it and so on. But I have also found as a professional in the industry, as a chiropractor in the industry, in a very not dominated as in the taking over, but it's a lot more men working at the high levels. And I have felt that was what my next thing of like speaking up. And I think to myself, where's this come from? Because if you leave me with a horse and a group full of women, I'm totally in my element. I'm confident. But when I'm speaking, especially in the early days as a practitioner speaking to male vets, it used to frighten me, and I'd used to say about 1/10 of what I wanted to say.
Mm.
And having spoken to other therapists and other women in the industry as well, as I've recognized I'm not alone. There is something almost like an unspoken fear of, like you said, being judged, being seen, maybe being critiqued. I don't know what it is. That I believe if more women actually spoke about it, we would recognize that it's a fear holding us back.
Absolutely. Especially as in almost any culture in the world, our level of submissiveness is much higher. So it affects us, not even talking about trainer abuse or, boss abuse or whatever. It's mainly self-abuse. We learn to not listen to our body, not listen to our cycles, not listen to our tiredness, fatigue. We learn that if we want to be at the top level or want to be just respected, we need to have a men rhythm and men authority and men posture. And this is the opposite of our strength, which is sensitivity, listening, observing. This is our inherent strength. They need to work on this. We have it. It's our birthright. Yeah. And we need to, on the other side, work on boundaries, creating boundaries, safeties. And at the top level, you find men with a lot of sensitivity and capacity to listen, because there's kind of a balance that you need at the top level. You cannot go all in, pushing and being controlling everything and being like in a man state of working, but you cannot act fully only like a moon state of receiving, of having a sensitivity and all the rest of it. So you need a balance in between men and women that we all have inside. We all have this energy, man and female energy. But the important thing is not to be caught in this obligation of acting and reacting as a man. And even, I would say, it goes into the posture. If you see women even older than my generation, let's say 60, who have ridden a lot, their lumbar region is almost straight. They have kind of a man posture, and they, not because of their personality or their tendency, just because you wanted to replicate a form of writing that was not feminine as it is becoming now more and more. And it even, reorganize your spine. It is as deep as how the bone structure frame your identity. So if you embrace of our all that we are as women, you need to reframe your in not only the capacity to stand as a professional without being afraid of being yourself, but also if you have the opportunity as a freelancer to reorganize your day, then it can be more aligned with your, the feminine aspect of you. Maybe riding your Grand Prix horse at 8 a.m. is not the thing. Maybe we are more productive. I am more productive at 12 noon. I am in the tradition of yoga, you need to practice very early in the morning, like 6 a.m. But who said that? A man in India, yeah, with a climate that is wet and hot. I discovered, maybe it's also an age thing, but I discovered after, now 14:45, that I'm more comfortable practicing at 12 noon. So I do things before, I practice at 12, and then I go on with my day also because I choose to be freelance. But, there's a way to rearrange your day that will suit the practice and suit the writing more. Also, I invite women who work with me to write differently when they are in their period. In
Tell
your
us.
Yeah, in your period, you're as you learn that in yoga as well. You either you don't practice yoga, I mean dynamic yoga. Either you practice gently in a more grounded manner, avoiding the inversions. You adapt. Why wouldn't you adapt the writing? Because if you push through having your period, you are the uterus has kind of its own life. When you give birth, it's spiraling to get the child out. It's not like pushing and you push through your uterus. No, it's you let the uterus do the work for you. If you want to go into a natural birthing, it can be an energetic portal that is super powerful. And same way when you ride, if you allow yourself to say, okay, in my period, I should listen more and not squeezing my knees that much, not holding my lower belly that much, more into receiving and relaxing. And suddenly your horse is also working in another manner, stretching and relaxing and learning something new from you. But if you go into the opposite, that is not you in the moment in your body, and you're anyway sending mixed messages to your horse, and it's confusing. Your body is your body at the time that it is. So you cannot push through something that is not. If you need to be relaxed and open because your uterus is destroying something else that you need that you intend in your day, then you need to match this frequency in this particular moment. But we all know that the feminine cycle is not only 3 or 5 days a month, it's a whole month with up and down. And sometimes we are more creative, sometimes we are more into doing, sometimes we are more into relationship with others. And this particularity that is only for women needs to be honored in order to have this aligned relationship with your horse, let's say.
It's speaking to my heart and my uterus at the moment. I've got to say that my uh, biggest transformation throughout where I am today, which is cycle syncing my training, cycle syncing my eating. It's not perfect, but it's definitely progress, and I feel it, was yoga because I'm a very competitive person. And so when I started yoga, it was all about doing the fancy inversions. And then I tried to do an inversion when I was on my period, and it was not happening. And the beauty about the yoga was that it gives you what you need on the day at the time. And I realized very quickly, stop.
Mm.
It. And then listening to that, what I recognize, and I'd love to know if you have noticed the same, that when I started understanding and accepting my cycle and listening to it, on the weeks or those 10 days of the month when I was okay, things were in alignment, I had a little bit more of a stability, I was writing better. I was better with my clients. I was better in my like I felt like I made more progress, even if it was just for those 10 days, in the days that I stopped and the days that I went, okay, I'm not going to train like a man. I'm not going to push. Have you found similar in your practice or even with your clients?
It's difficult to say because with with some clients it's obvious when I say, look, why don't we do it differently today, and as soon as they tune into this different energy, the horse is relaxing, and I see the horse quicker than I see the person, actually, because I train a lot online, so I'm not present, I'm just online, but I see that, oh yeah, now she's in her energy, because the horse is mirroring straight away what she allows, because horse riding is a lot about allowing
Mm.
more than uh, asking and building, and that's sort of and that's um, i- that's how you can understand that allowing, or let's put it this way, I had a yoga teacher who said, you don't stretch muscles, you stretch your nervous system. So when you want to allow something to come into your life, it's not about willpower. It's about a sense of safety that comes by working with the breath and sending a new signal to your nervous system. And yeah, this is the big difference. But it comes with, practice, and not willing to do fancy poses or anything. Fancy poses come when you allow them, just as fancy things in dressage come when you allow them.
If listeners that are here with us today, or, what are 3 practices or just very simple things that they can do either on or off their horse just to feel a little bit more grounded in the saddle or from the ground? What are 3 things that you would give them?
The easiest one will be tap into peripheral vision. See at the edge of the left side and at the edge of the right side, and open the vision. What it means is that you are aware of everything that is in your environment, so you have a sense of control coming in, sense of safety, and also your nervous system is relaxing as you're not preparing to grasp something. You're not taking in something from the outside, or you're not preparing to catch, as we are carnivore, to catch anything. And this is really relaxing. Peripheral vision. It takes 1 second, but it's super powerful. And the second thing would be focus on one thing in your body, just one thing. Because if you try to go back to your body just like that, you will have so many input that the mind will go back to wandering and go back to whatever needs to be protected when you try it. So fear about being seen, fear about falling, fear about your horse not behaving and people watching you, awkwardly, whatever it would run into your mind, it will go back to this. So you need to focus either in your feet, either in your hands, the extremities are very powerful, or either in your jaw, just one thing. And if you're on horseback, I would say the knees. Put your knees aligned with the track, and you will reconnect with your pelvic floor, you will reconnect with your core strength, you will reconnect with your spine. But if I say, be aware of your pelvic floor, and there's no way it's going to work. Be aware of your hips, there's no way it's going to work. But put your knees just, internal rotation of the thighs, then suddenly it's like a chain. Okay. And the third one would be the breath, but bizarrely, I would not recommend the breath, because if you're not if you're not, let's say, accustomed to have a conversation with your breath, you will force it. You will try to, okay, I need to breathe. So you will force it. And it's not going to relax your nervous system. And you're going to go into, oh, I can't breathe, actually. And you wouldn't find your way out of this. So for the breath, unless you can be quiet enough to just observe what it is and the breath as it is, and then all of a sudden it will be more spacious. It needs some training, let's say some breath techniques that you need to know that can bring you back into something safer in your body.
Really helpful, though. Well, all of them. And I'm glad I asked that question, because the one I was almost anticipating, the first one was breath. I was like, she's going to say breath work, but really, those two, I was almost doing them in the room now. I was just like looking around, aligning my
Mm,
knees, and I was like, yeah.
mm,
So that's really, really helpful. Thank you.
mm.
What's
Yeah.
one lesson a horse has taught you that you couldn't have learnt anywhere else?
One lesson a horse has told me. Instinctively, I would say um, that my sensitivity is my strength.
What an answer. I've not had that answer before.
It is what they told me. Um, just by the touch of them, touching a horse, and you have so much going on. I do quite a lot of groundwork lately, um, helping some nervous horses to calm down and be and empower them by helping them being conscious of their own tension and nervous system relaxation that they can do on their own. And the touch is super powerful, and the sensitivity and of being in their presence, just doing nothing but I do me. I put, my pubic bone to the navel to align the whole spine, to breathe in, to ground with my feet, and suddenly they answer with the they give me the right answer for themselves and the right space for themselves. And this approach is quite new to me. Let's say 5 or 10 years ago. Before that, I wanted to control. I wanted to, have a methodology that would work. But yeah, the biggest thing would be sensitivity as strength.
Hmm. So such a the way you've worded that as well, it's just like really kind of taken me back. Because we're almost finished, but I just wanted to finish the point where it's going back to the whole feminine thing where, a lot of myself was almost afraid to be the sensitive one or the quiet one. Um, but I've known so many cases, if I look back now, where I'm on a horse, a powerful horse, and we all know that there's this feeling where everything just feels like it's coming together. And it's always been when I've been so present and so soft. It's never ever been when I've been, the leader or the one that's in control, because I've never been in control. I'm too small. They're
Mm.
too big. But it was so, looking back now, it's always been those moments of grounded myself, calm myself, and soft, not
Absolutely.
not fear.
I was talking with an osteopath a few weeks ago, and he's a surfer because my parents live in a surfing area, and he was saying the best waves I take is when I land on the board, and I he just wait until he feels the water, so to say. And he feels the water so deeply in his body that suddenly he has the right timing and the right spot to take the wave and surf the whole way through. But if he thinks about the placement and the timing, he's kind of out of tempo. He will maybe take but half of the wave, or it will not be that perfect. And what changes, he did, it's not about willpower, it's not about um, trying harder. It's about waiting until you feel it completely in your body, and woof, suddenly it comes to you. And it's exactly the same feeling that I feel in horseback when you wait until you feel exactly, the movement of the hips, the shoulder, the spine, and then you know the transition needs to happen at a certain moment. And you can, even if after that in dressage you need to have this moment at a certain letter, you can anticipate and recreate this feeling to be just ready at the letter you need to be ready. Mm.
Such an awesome story. Thank you. Where can people find you if they want to connect, if they want to find out about your coaching? Where do people find you?
Super easy. It's I have a website, 3wcarolinegaya.com, and I have a TikTok account, and TikTok is hashtag Caro Gaya, and you find it's Caro Gaya Equestrian Coach.
Perfect. I will put all of your links in the description below.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time today, and it was a really great conversation.
I loved it. I love talking to you and having this in-depth into topics of feminine riding, sensitivity, and yeah.
Thank you.